Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer, and welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and have wry comments about them. Having the hindsight, I'm going to adjust this so that it's a little bit brighter. I have these webcam controls. All right, yeah, a little bit better. It all depends on what the brightness is outside. Anyways, so we watch old 16mm films, and that last film, Christmas Parade Hollywood, was something that was shot by somebody with a home movie camera, and they distributed it. Again, similar to how Castle Films distributed, where you could buy it, and they basically, I think, shot it on Kodachrome, and then they distributed it on Kodachrome, and, you know, the possible glimpse of Hollywood celebrities and radio celebrities was enough that some people bought it and were excited by it. But pretty beautiful footage. And somebody pointed out it was like it's at night, and I was like, oh yeah, in Raleigh, their Christmas parade used to be at night back in the 60s and 70s, I think, and that changed at some point in the probably late 70s, early 80s. That it became a morning event, maybe because Macy's was in the morning. But, there's some pageantry and some beautiful lights and colors seeing it at night. It's kind of exciting. But yeah, so I got that. That was from the Oregon Archive. We scanned that for them. And some really beautiful stuff. This next film is a short. It's funny. I should say that folks, the word or hashtag avgeeks, AVGEEKS. I've been using it for quite a while, since the early 2000s. But at some point, Aviation Geeks started using it, and so then that was a problem. And so there's this overlap that's kind of funny, which I don't mind, actually, as long as they don't keep pilfering YouTube usernames and things like that, which they are doing. But AV Geeks is audiovisual geeks, not Aviation Geeks. Aviation Geeks should be AVI Geeks, AV Geeks. Anyways, that's all right. Anyways, so here's a film. Here's a film that fits both molds. So High Flight. It's a poem.
I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.
Interesting. Somebody posited that there was it was shown at the end of the broadcast day. Generally, that was the Star Spangled Banner that was shown, and was often sponsored by a branch of the military. So there was footage of, the military doing their thing with some pretty great music behind it. I don't know where that was shown. It does seem to have it talks about touching the face of God and flying and all that stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it would have been shown on television. It depends on who they distributed it to. Right, so I have a film. It's set up, and I haven't seen this. It's Swedish, I think. It's Nordic. It's from a Nordic country. And it's maybe 18 minutes long. But it's Pussycat That Ran Away. And this goes to all of you who have cats and you know how ornery they can be. I don't know how this film goes, but here we go. And if it gets too dark for some reason, there's a bunch of slaughtered cats everywhere, which I don't think is going to go, because it says that the film is made for young children, but adults will like it as well. But who knows? Who knows what's triggering nowadays? All right, so Pussycat That Ran Away. Enjoy.
This is a story that takes place in a land where the winters are long and dark, and the summers are short and light. So light that during part of the summer, the sun shines all night long. This land, which is far, far away, is called Norway. At the southern edge of a little lake, a tiny mirul nods her welcome to the sun. On the hill above, a little tirultunga makes friends with a water lily that just wants to dream the whole day through. And the winds play with the violet that cannot keep quiet, for it has a story to tell. A story about Eric and the pussycat that ran away. Now, if you'll listen carefully and keep very, very quiet, you can hear this story and find out why the pussycat ran away and why Eric promised that he would always try to be a good boy. It all happens on a farm in the middle of the fjord country of western Norway. There are cows and goats and chickens, just like the ones here in our country. Eric and his little brother Jan have come here from the city to spend their summer holidays with grandfather and grandmother. The boys enjoy feeding the hens, but to tell you the truth, most of the food goes somewhere else. They play a game guessing how many eggs there might be in the nest. This makes it fun to gather the eggs for grandmother. Their cousins, Hans and Ulla, prefer to play Indians all day long. Eric and Jan take part in everything that happens on the farm. In the middle of the summer, the grass is cut, and when it has dried, it is taken to the barn. Grandfather's horse, Blocken, works hard these days. So Eric and Jan feel that they can help do their share by feeding her some extra hay. And what a thrill it is to get that free ride back to the barn. One of the lambs on the farm has lost its mother, so Cousin Kari has to feed it milk from a bottle. Eric and Jan have never seen anything like this before. In the fjord, a long inland arm of the ocean, there are many islands, and on warm days it is nice when Mother brings them here. It is great fun to search for the little seagull babies and to watch the other seagulls wheeling overhead. The babies are hard to find because they look so much like everything around them. Eric and Jan have made friends with the big dairy cows and like to be here at milking time. Eric always brings his little boat so that it can be filled with fresh milk for the kitten that is his best friend this summer. Pussycat eats almost everything that is put in front of her, but she just loves warm milk. So Eric makes certain she gets all she wants. Yes, Pussycat is his best friend for sure. He has even made a little bed where she can sleep any time she wants to. Taking care of her all the time keeps the little boy very, very busy. All day long, Eric plays with Pussycat. Even when they take milk to the dairy with Grandfather, she has to go along. Where are we going today? Wonders Pussycat. But she doesn't really care, because she likes to go everywhere that Eric goes. Grandfather, Eric, Jan, and Pussycat are constant companions. The boys love to listen to Grandfather's stories, to hear him tell what he did when he was a little boy. They love to listen to Mother, too, when she tells them about the great ocean and the shells and the seaweed, and about the tides that come and go. She warns them about the tides and tells them that they must never play down by the fjord alone. Jan plays with his little boat, and Pussycat just enjoys herself in the sunshine. Everything is nice and quiet. In fact, I guess Eric feels it is too quiet, for all of a sudden he takes the boat from Jan and, oh, see what he does with it. He throws it into the fjord. When Eric is so mean to Jan, says Pussycat, I don't want to play with him anymore. And she goes away. Now, where did Pussycat go? Eric looks all over. He comes all the way back to the farm. When he finds the bed empty and no Pussycat in any of the buildings, he knows that she has really run away. Eric wanders around looking for Pussycat. He really doesn't know where he is going, because the only thing he is thinking about is where to find his dear little playmate. And thus, he comes to places he has never been before. And maybe, if his mother knew it, she wouldn't like him to be there at all. He has so often heard Mother tell about the big forest that he starts to look for Pussycat here, even though he has been told never to come here by himself. It seems as if he's getting into trouble right away, even though it is only the smallest creatures of the forest, the ants, trying to attack him. After a while, Eric gets hungry and starts to eat some berries he finds. Then he realizes his mother has told him never to eat anything he finds growing wild in the fields. So Eric doesn't dare pick any more berries. Little by little, he's been getting tired because he's been searching everywhere. Surely, Pussycat has really left him and has run to faraway places never to return. But what's that? Eric is scared. He suddenly realizes that he is all alone in the forest. He feels as if all the trees were trying to reach out and grab him. What kind of a sound is that? A bear? Maybe a witch? Oh, no. Isn't that luck? It's Grandfather. Grandfather says he hasn't seen Pussycat either. And then he tells Eric that, of course, when he has been mean to Jan, Pussycat prefers to play with all of the elves and fairies in the forest. Now Eric promises himself that he will always be a good boy to Jan, to Mom, and Pussycat, and Grandfather, to everybody, if only Pussycat will return to him. And suddenly the rain that the thunder has been talking about comes down. Grandfather and Eric run to a little shed that stands in the forest. It rains and rains. And Eric wonders if Pussycat has found a place where it is warm and dry. Finally, it stops, and Eric and Grandfather row across the lake toward the farm. Eric is sure now that he will always try to be a good boy. Jan is already asleep. In a little while, Eric is asleep too. Remembering what Grandfather told him, he dreams of Pussycat playing with the elves and fairies far, far away in the forest. The next morning dawns bright and clear. Eric and Jan have already had their breakfast, and now they both start looking for Pussycat. They just feel sure that with two such brave boys working together, they will succeed in finding her. Let's look all over, says Jan. But no pussycat. What's going on here? Shh! Wasn't that pussycat? No. Only Hans and Ulla playing Indians again. Suddenly, Eric remembers what Mother has told them about playing down by the fjord and how the tides come in and go out. He realizes that this could be dangerous for Jan, that he must get help in a hurry. Grandfather thinks that Eric is only playing. No, he says, I have work to do. But finally he understands and hurries to help. Really? Pussycat? Yes, it is. Pussycat has seen everything that happened. She has seen Eric give his boat to Jan. She has heard Eric promise always to be a good boy. Now they can all be together again. Eric takes Pussycat. And the four of them, Grandfather, Jan, Eric, and Pussycat, all start for home. The sun is still shining, and the summer is by no means at an end. If you lie down in the grass and listen carefully, you may hear other flowers telling tales of what happened on many such beautiful summer days.
Well, that was kind of epic. And really didn't involve what I thought it was going to involve. I could have read the synopsis, which I have here written on the inside of the can, but I decided not to. I just kind of gleamed at it to see who it was made for. But here's some questions for discussion, and this is based on this film being designed for showing to small children. All right, so you can answer these questions along if you would like. What was the name of the movie you just saw? Where does the story take place? What kind of flower was supposed to tell this story? Why did Mother warn the boys against playing by the fjord? Who was Eric's best friend? Why did the games, what kind of games did Pussycat like to play? How did the boys finally find Pussycat? Tell about baby seagulls. How was the motherless lamb fed? What games did Hans and Ola like to play? What was Grandfather doing when Eric found him in the forest? So, given the fact that that film was at the end, it said the Bailey address, and it wasn't a zip code. It just said, code 76 or 26. I'm going to look up real quickly to see when this film might have been made. '57 is what WorldCat says. Yeah, it had a potential of going really bad at many, many opportunities. So, yikes! I'm happy it didn't. Let's see, what do we got next? Thank you, Have a Ham, for the coffee. He followed this link right here to buy me some coffee. And he also had heard me talk about how we were going to compete. avgeeks is going to compete against Found Footage Festival. Those guys, they have been having what they call a tournament, a toe-tapping jingle tournament. They kind of did it, I guess, because March Madness, there was a whole bunch of tournaments going on. So they kind of capitalized on that. And then at one point they, I think somebody who is a viewer here actually submitted something to them from something I had shown, and the Glamorama song. And so Joe from Found Footage Festival was like, oh, well, you know what? We should take on avgeeks because they have a lot of great stuff. So I've been talking with them about how to do this. So what I might start doing is soliciting songs that you've heard on my show. And my wife and I are going to put together a bracket, and we're going to have a similar type of thing, kind of a tournament of our songs to pick, do maybe one or two a week or something like that, and then we will go head-to-head with Found Footage Festival, and we will destroy them. I mean, really, we will utterly destroy them because we have the I mean, we got Duck and Cover. Come on. We got Shake Hands with Danger. You cannot compete against those. But, there's other ones as well. There's all these other songs that have infected us. And Have a Ham picked a Mulligan Stew song, 4432, as one that has stuck in his head as an earworm. So, again, I will be soliciting you guys for some of these things in the future. In the meantime, here's a film about the mechanic.
Only when the commonplace, like the town clock, runs wild, are we reminded that its machinery must be regulated by a man's hands. Today, men's hands are regulating most of the machinery of our everyday lives. The machine is the chief single item of modern civilization. Man has set the machine to work for him. In this factory in an average American town, diesel engines are being made. The engines will do the work of horses and waterfalls, move great weights, drive other machines. The manufacture of a machine begins in the foundry, where the very steel itself is made. In the making of steel, the worker's skill is an essential ingredient. The talent of industrial engineers determines what kind of machines will be created from the steel. Then other hands take over to translate the blueprints into machines, perhaps machines to make machines, all run by men, all guided by human skill and intelligence. New devices are constantly discovered to ease the worker's physical burden. The workers and their machines together produce more than a mechanical gadget. They make modern living possible. The voice of the man behind the machine commands attention in the United States. It's heard at meetings where management and labor talk their problems over at conference tables. Some of the men now sitting at management side of the table started as factory workers. During the war, management and labor together devised new processes, new machines to produce the materials of war better and faster. Their experience is now guiding production of the materials of peace. More and more people realize that the twin supports of American industry, capital and labor, must both share the weight if the structure is to be firm. These meetings may not solve every problem, but their give and take sessions increase understanding on both sides. They bring concrete improvements like this first aid station where minor injuries are treated. A doctor is also on call. When the workers point out the need for better facilities, management follows the suggestions through. Improved relations between labor and management create a feeling of ease between worker and worker. Meet Charlie Blake, master mechanic. Men like him who work with their hands are not the servants of the machine, They're its masters. Charlie has more than skill with tools, of course. There's skill with men, too, knowing how to get along on a team. Charlie Blake, wage earner. With 15 years of experience behind him, he's well paid for his skill. He and his family can share the high standard of living in their Middle Western community. His tools are his own. Most of the men in the factory have a sense of pride in their machines, their work, and the output of the plant. Sometimes there's a sense of ownership as well. Many workers in the United States have shares in the companies that employ them. Let's follow Charlie home from the factory on Saturday afternoon. Get to know him a little better. Meet his family. He lives close enough to walk home. His co-worker may live in the suburbs and use a car to get back and forth. No thanks, rather walk. Charlie likes these streets and knows them well. The people have been his friends for years. Most of the Blakes' neighbors are working people, too. The Blakes bought their house 5 years ago. They don't own it outright yet, but they will long before Charlie's son grows up. Charlie Blake, family man. He met Mrs. Blake when they were at school together. The phone call interrupted important work in the kitchen. Putting up preserves is an old custom in American homes. The Blakes know how important it is today to conserve food at home, to release supplies for the hungry in other lands. A Saturday afternoon get-together with the kids and the neighbor's boy. The midget auto's been the major project for weeks now, with some expert assistance from the small fry. Charlie started his life work by tinkering with machines this way. Maybe the young man next door won't be a mechanic, but he'll know what makes machinery run. He's figured out how to apply about 50 years of transportation progress to this gadget of his. Of course, he still has to use his own self-starter. With 2 growing boys and a hungry husband to feed, Mrs. Blake doesn't get very far away from the kitchen during the afternoon. Time for a familiar father and son ritual. Junior can't wait to get rid of his beard. The evening meal at the Blake home is simple. With only slight variations, you might see the same scene almost anywhere in town. In the evening, Mr. and Mrs. Blake join their neighbors in the local auditorium. It's not entertainment that brings them together tonight, but the serious business of education, the practical matter of their children's schooling. This is a meeting of the Parent Teachers Association of one of the town's schools. By talking over their mutual problems once a month, parents and teachers can help one another solve them. Charlie finds he has something to say, and says it. That's why he's here tonight. Sunday is supposed to be a day of rest, but Charlie prefers fussing with his car to sleeping late. The youngsters catch up on their reading. The big moment arrives and the Blakes pile into the car for their weekly outing. Although their neighborhood has plenty of grass and trees, they never miss a chance to get out to the nearby rolling country. Charlie had to work hard for his car. He was able to get it because the system of mass production, which depends on men like him, brought it within his reach. In the United States, there's one automobile to every 5 people. This valley has a special meaning for Charlie. He was born here. This is more than a visit. It's a homecoming. Charlie's folks are always overjoyed to see the whole family. It makes up in some degree for losing him to the city and the factory. The mechanic is still a farmer's son. Charlie Blake, farmer. The younger generation, city-bred, finds feeding the animals a strange game. Some promising candidates for the preserve shelf keep Mrs. Blake busy. The Blakes find a spiritual renewal in their frequent visits to the country. By evening, Emily is homeward bound. Some of them haven't quite lasted the day through. And Monday is another day, another work day. More machines to be made, more wheels to be guided by the skill of men like Charlie.
Whoa. That just kind of ended. Wow. Yeah, that I think lost tension. And this is a batch of films where, I mean, they were part of Buffalo Public Schools, and over a period of time, the beginnings and the ends of the films were just getting shorter and shorter and shorter because they were being shredded by projectors, and so, they just kept adding leader, so it would just cut off at the end. In fact, they wouldn't even put leader on the end. Yeah, there was a mention of this. I don't think that this really technically qualifies for the tournament with Found Footage Festival. It is certainly a good thing, and it certainly is something to remind us is the Shake Hands with Danger and Your Booty. So let's watch this.
I get back that gear in a minute, so don't touch anything, okay? Hey! Get Get down from there! Now! Hey! Turn it over! What if it bumped that control by accident? You'd be mincemeat by now. What have I told you? You don't work on equipment when the engine's running.
Well, I told him not to touch anything. All right, I guess I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking? You mean you'll work on engines and machinery and not think of your own personal safety? Here. Shake hands with danger.
Shake hands with danger. Meet a man you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Fingered Joe. I was young and feisty. Never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on a dozier with my mechanic's pride. Said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Fingered Joe. Although I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Fingered Joe. I've seen mechanics burning and I've seen them take a fall just to save themselves a minute. I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment and spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Fingered Joe.
So we know that would win. But I have a feeling that the judges will be like, well, that was written recently. It's a contemporary thing, and so it won't qualify. So we won't add that to the mix. Now, I will come up with a reason to show it during the tournament. We've come up with ways to show other things that didn't make the cut, but yeah, I'm gonna probably say that that's not gonna be allowed. Wow, there's an insane number of emojis that appeared on YouTube's chat. So, yeah, over the next couple of days, I'll be asking you guys for potential candidates or players, songs that we've played in the past that you're like, oh, that's a really great song. So what I've gotten so far is Remake of Shake Hands with Danger, which we talked about. VD is for Everybody. That's another one that'll just slay them. Absolutely slay them. Somebody said, nothing from Mulligan Stew if you want to win. Different strokes for different folks. That vocational video, what you're going to do gets stuck in my head every time I play it, and that is the theme song from the Career Is a Career in Blah for You. So, yeah, we will start kind of compiling this information based on your suggestions, and then, of course, I have my own things that I love and ones that you don't even know about. So this will be an opportunity for us to watch a bunch of these, and we won't show the entire film, we'll just show the song snippet, and then my wife and I she'll do a lot of the bracketing and all that stuff. It's a lot of overhead for me. Paperwork, man. But thanks everybody for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow. So I'm getting my shot today, my second shot. So we'll see what happens. If I am under the weather, I'll still do a show, but I just might just kind of like show up and just say like, this is the next film, enjoy, and then start the film. And then I have another film show with Hunt Library later in the day at 3. So I'm doing 2 shows again tomorrow. Post second Pfizer vaccine. So we'll see what happens. We're rolling the dice a little bit. Yeah. But everybody have a good rest of your day. And please rewind. Love each other. And we will see you tomorrow. All right? I'll be here in some state. All right. Take care.